Yo, 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 yo. Back at it again. We were off for a couple weeks. This is the weekend rhyme. I'm your boy RKY. That is Leroy Green. What's good, brother?
What's good? What's good? Hip hop in the building, holding it down every time. I know y'all ain't seen me in a week or so, but this is where hip hop, the rubber meets the road. What we doing? What we doing? Let's do it.
No doubt, no doubt. I would be remiss to say, not to mention that today is Mother's Day. So shout out to all the beautiful mothers that gave life,
Yes.
uh, love, wisdom, nourishment, encouragement to all of us in the world. Without
Mhm.
you, we would not exist. So salute to the mothers, salute to the
Yep.
fathers, but salute to the mothers. This is Mother's Day. The Father's Day will be in a couple weeks, but today we want to shine on the mothers that life, entered their wombs, came out of their wombs, and produce. And I want to talk about some hip hop songs that reference mothers. We always think about Hey Mama by Kanye, or we think about Dear Mama by Pac. But there's some other hip hop. Complex made a list. I want to go through that list a little bit later so we can kind of shine some light on the moms in the world. So shout out to my mother, shout out to my beautiful wife, my mother-in-law, shout out to my grandmother, shout out to my grandmother in heaven, great grandmoms, aunts, my nieces, my cousins that are mothers. Shout out to them. So we salute. Peace.
Shout out to them, man. Make no mistake about it. What do we do this for? Who is the top of the food chain? It's our mothers. That's what this is actually for, and this is about. It's our mothers. That's the top of the food chain. Now we could have cultural arguments, we could have ideological arguments. I'm here for that because I respect everybody's opinion. I don't shoot other people's opinions and beliefs down contrary to popular belief, right? But when we speak about the mothers, when we speak about the divine feminine, that's the top. That's what we do this for. We are not contrary to popular belief, we are not patriarchal or whatever the word is, meaning we put the men at the top of the food. We are matriarchal. That's our culture is our mother is the equivalent of what the supreme power would be. Now, if those that would like to argue that, I have no problem with that. I respect everybody, but I can prove for a fact that for the majority of our history here, we have looked at our mothers as the top of our families, and it just that takes nothing away from the men. Men have a we have a role, right? You have a family household, and you have a village. When it comes to the village, okay, now you need some kind of security there. So now you're dealing with men, right? You're dealing with the masculine, because security and protection, it is masculine, right? But when we go inside the homes, right, the women is the supreme power. That's what, especially our mothers. You know how when you was arguing with a kid or snapping on a kid back in the day, and you go, "Your mama," and then the kid would get all upset. That's built into our DNA as a culture. Of course, we get upset when your mama jokes go too far, because we look at our moms a certain way, and we have to bring that back because it's a reason for that. You know what I mean? When we talk about nurturing the children, it's a reason why we look at moms a certain way and put them on a certain pedestal, right? It doesn't mean everybody, but the ones that are doing right, we gotta uphold them, uplift them, and protect them for a reason. It makes sense. I'm not gonna break down everything, but it does make sense as far as our communities are concerned. So happy Mother's Day. Shout out to all the mothers out there. Shout out to my mom, you know what I mean? And in my eyes, my mom is right next to God. You know what I mean? The equivalent of that. You know what I mean? Because how else would I look at my mom? You know what I'm saying? So everybody out there, hug your mom, man. Go tell your mom you love her, man, and hold her down. You know what I'm saying?
No
Real
doubt, no
talk.
doubt, no doubt. So it's a special day. People asking where we've been. A lot of life has been life, and man. And daughter's
Yeah.
graduating. Mike's got a daughter that's graduating. I got a daughter that's graduating. So we both had, that's why the Thursday show was kind of in flux. We were out of town. People
Yeah.
coming in town and getting ready to celebrate these young ladies that are achieving beautiful things in the world. Getting an
Mhm.
education. So we was out for a couple of days, but now we back at it. We back at it. We about to spin the block. We back like we never left. So, we gonna do our thing. You know what I mean?
We go through our thing. It's a lot to cover, man. As always, poets and rhymers. Shout out to you, Ryu. Shout out to you, Jermaine Johnson. Shout out to you. It's a lot to cover, man. And you have a lot of spaces in the voice. I mean, a lot of spaces, a lot of voices in the space. Sorry. And again, I don't hate on the other voices. Respect to y'all. Bring what you bring to the table. If you like it, I love it. But what we bring is a deeper analysis into the game. I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying? Because we're discussing the music one. A lot of y'all have left the music behind to discuss the trending topics. We're discussing the music and we're discussing the culture again. And I invite whoever to be a part of these discussions. But that's where I've been at from day one, from how I came in the game, from how I stand on that. And it's for a reason, you know what I mean? So we got a lot going on. There's new music out there, it's new movies out there. It is the Met Gala. You know what I mean? If y'all let me know if y'all feeling people's outfits out there, we're gonna get into that. It's new voices in the space. Shout out Fat Joe, Jadakiss. So we gonna do what we do, man. But it's all for a reason, man.
No
What
doubt,
what
no
we
doubt.
yeah, where we going, Ron? Because I seen the title you running. Where we going? You know what I'm saying?
Let's go with Logic. I know you wanted to talk about Logic's new film. I haven't seen the trailer yet. I don't know if we can play the trailer because we might get a strike. But
Okay.
I want you to talk to us through it real quick, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so I've always talked about different things to branch out and expand for hip hop culture. We want to expand, and we've always played a role in Hollywood in the movies. If I say a hip hop guy is going into the movies, it won't be the first time it's ever been done. We know that it's been done, but what I'm saying is that is a lane that we should investigate, right? Because you have someone out there like Ryan Coogler, he's gonna make $100 million off sinners or whatever. So that's where we want to go, right? We want to talk billions. We don't want to just continue to talk millions. Not that there's nothing wrong with millions. If you make $1 million, that's awesome. But we want to talk billions because we want to just shoot for the highest level. So Logic, he's asking his fan base, because I'm gonna talk about crowdsourcing, you know what I mean, and the role of a fan, right? Because you do play a role. But his movie that he's promoting now, Paradise Records, um, it seems to be about a record store, and I love that. I was the guy that was spending hours in record stores buying vinyl, buying different albums. I'm there every week, spending $100 every time I go. I was that person, so I understand it, right? But he wants his fans to show up at the Tribeca Film Festival on June 6th and watch this movie, right? And support this movie if you support what he does. I'm a Logic fan. I wasn't always a Logic fan, just like I wasn't always a Kendrick fan. But over the years of watching them put out material, I became a fan, right? So I don't have to start out as a fan, but if you keep being consistent and keep putting your music forward and whatnot, over time you could win somebody like myself, right? So I am a fan now. I believe the trailer looks awesome. You know what I mean? He's a funny person to me. Logic has humor to me, and I like to laugh, and he's funny to me. You know what I mean? Also, he deals with he's biracial, so of course the jokes are there. People have always kind of tried to clown him on that, like, why are you always talking about you being biracial, right? So, but I think that's a conversation to be had, right? For those that are biracial, I think that it's all love. As far as the hip hop community is concerned, I think it should be all love with the biracial people. I don't think that they are our enemies or they are a problem. I think it's all love, right? So, but that is something that should be explored because there are multiple things in that conversation. But the movie is called Paradise Records. Trailer looks good, looks awesome. He is a vinyl head. He is a boom bap head. He is a hip hop purist, as myself. So I relate there. You know what I mean? So he wants people to show up to the premiere of that movie, and I think we should go, man. I think that hip hop should play a role in Hollywood. A couple days ago, we had the anniversary of the Carmen movie. You know what I mean? The musical rather, with Beyonce and Mackay Pfeiffer or whatever. But I believe that we should go there. Like we should turn these albums, turn our projects into movies. We should release movies. We should have our actors in there, get our acting chops, get our feet wet in that world, and we should really perform this material. You know what I mean? Why not? Like we with these other people, like I'm saying, they're gonna go out here, they're gonna make $1 billion, right, off of their movies. So why not we do that as well? Right? We can do that, right? So that was interesting about that. So I salute Logic for that. So that's all. I just wanted to bring that up because I feel it's important, right? We had Lupe Fiasco when I was talking to him about Broadway and scripts for that. You know what I mean? He said he already wrote that. Shout out to Lou. You know what I mean? But that's another segue, right? So you have Broadway, you have movies, but they all involve acting. And to be a rapper in some capacity, you are acting. You know what I mean? It's real, but when you're delivering certain things, and especially when you go into a story type of song, you are kind of acting to a degree. You know what I mean? So we should flesh that out and we should expand on that. So I salute that to what Logic is doing. I haven't seen a lot of people covering that. And people feel away. They're like, oh, we don't like Logic. He's corny or whatever the case may be. I think corny should come back. I think corny needs to come into a space in hip hop because we're doing this thing of we're just being cool. We're being cool for what? What are we being cool for? You're cool with no message attached. So you're essentially Drake. You know what I mean? You show up, you're cool, you hop out a fancy car, you wear jewelry. But you're cool for no reason. There's nothing attached to your coolness other than I guess you want to go home and have a good night with some young ladies, which is great. But there's nothing attached. There's no message attached to your coolness. So we want to at this post battle era, which is originally what I was going to talk about. They're calling this the greatest battle ever. Well, where do we go as a culture after Kendrick and Drake? Where do we go? You know what I mean? Or what is the new cool? Is Drake cool now? Well, he's been cool. I don't want to take cool points away from Drake, but is he the pinnacle of what being cool is? I don't know. These are questions I'm just asking. You know what I mean? So, I'm looking to expand, and I feel like hip hop should go into movies, Hollywood, TV, acting, etc. You
Well,
know what I mean?
I think I think you would say, or I would say maybe we
Yeah.
want to continue like what Logic is doing and what we'll talk about ASAP Rocky with Spike Lee and Denzel, highest to lowest coming up in a bit. Maybe it should be a continuation. We should do more movies because there was a time where hip hop was, from Beat Street to Wild Style to Break In, to Juice. It was a whole hip hop subgenre of hip hop films, right? Even
Yeah.
films like Friday, or even what P was doing with Bout It, and you know what I'm saying, I'm Bout It, and some movies like House Party and Players Club and New Jersey Drive. There was always a sub. They call them hip hop films, right? So there was always a subgenre of that, right? Even
Yep.
Backstage and Belly, and you had you got, what was it?
So,
Baller Blocking with Cash Money back in the day, and I think E40 put out movies, and Too Short had
Charlie.
Freaky Tales. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
think it should be a continuation. I don't think. I mean, and now that hip hop, the technology is there, and is cheaper to make films. Even what Dame was doing, right? Now that it's cheaper than ever in 2025 to make films, you can make a film on an iPhone. I think we should continue what Logic is doing. So I think it should be a continuation of the film space. And then shout out to 50, who even built a film studio in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Right.
He's got his streaming service where he streams action movies. So I
Right.
think we should continue and I think there's a space to do that. You look at Nicki Minaj. I think Nicki Minaj is one in the barbershop movies. Eve, Cube transitioned out. You had Will Smith, who was a
Mhm.
rapper that turned into an actor, one of the biggest movie stars in the world. You've got DMX was in films. Pac was known as a brilliant. He started off as being in school as a
Right.
trained thespian,
Right.
right? Lauren Hill was trained. Mos
Mhm.
Def was trained. um Commons in the
That matters.
movies. You know what I'm saying? So I think we
Yeah,
should continue that. And I think you have a good point. Now, to your other point about being what's cool and what's not cool. I mean, I think it's hard to deny. Again, I'm not gonna cape for homie, you know what I'm saying? But he
yeah,
dominated the game for 15 years. So we can't, you know, and I don't know if this
yeah.
was the biggest battle ever. I believe that there might have been bigger battles. I think Jay and Nas probably would have was a bigger battle because you had two lyrical heavyweights. You know what I'm saying? And not taking away from Drake's pen game or Drake's ability to rap, but I think you had two
Yeah,
lyrical heavyweights. They were in a different. They like the heavyweight division, the boxing, right? This might be like
right.
the flyweight. And I ain't not the flyweight or the cruiserweight division. You know what I'm saying? I think it was at different levels of battles, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad at that. I would think this is the biggest battle because I still see people talking about it a year later, and that's great. I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? But Jay and Nas are two lyrical guys, two street guys. They're kind of the same. I know people look at them as different, but these are two street guys with lyricism in their bag. Kendrick and Drake, to me personally, was not really just about Kendrick versus Drake. It was about culture versus the costume of what culture looks like that can be bought and sold and can be put together by a label. Now, I don't want to say that as if I'm sending shots to Drake because that's not what I'm doing. What Drake did is phenomenal. I can't undercut what he did and act like, he's not of the culture because he is. However, Kendrick is something else, right? And from me, it was about culture versus, vulture or appropriation or what, and it's not by way of Drake by himself, but we do know if I want to, if I have the money for, if I have $100 million, I can just create a number one rapper because I'll just pay everybody, and that number one rapper will show up. He'll have the hottest songs. He'll have the hottest videos. He'll have the most fans. He'll have the most trendings. Because if I'm a billionaire, I can just afford to make that happen. I can just spend money on that.
But that's
It's
not
not a
sustainable. That's not
it's not
sustainable
a
for
big
15.
deal.
That's not sustainable for
Not a
15
big deal.
years, Leroy. That's not
But
sustainable.
that can be done. I could at least hold five. I could clip off a cool 5 years just by paying for it.
But but
I
but
can I can close that off.
but 15 years, you got to be something more than a vulture. I would argue you have to be something more than a
I can pay
vulture.
for cool.
But for
Cool is easy.
15, but people can normally spot a fraud,
Can
right?
you? Can you?
For 15 years. I mean, I got
Can
a
you?
daughter just graduated from college this weekend. She was in diapers when this man was making hit records. I seen a lot of people come and go in that time. They had hit records that record labels put a lot of money into that didn't make it. So for fifteen
I can do that.
years,
If
I,
I'm UMG, I can produce that person for you because it's not a hard ask because I have the money to produce that. Now I get I get what, and again, isolated by himself, Drake, I believe, is a talented person by himself. But with $1 billion machine behind him, I believe he's even more powerful because when you have all of that money, people are going to lay down. They're not going to argue against you. They're not going to not play your records. They're not going to put you through a vetting system. They're not going to see where your bars are at, or they're just going to book you, period, because you're paying. And that's it. A radio station is just going to pay you. I mean, just going to play your record because you're paying, and that's it. You know what I mean? So I hear what you're saying, but in my mind, see, Kendrick comes from a different world. He comes out of Compton. He comes off the street. He works his way up with his own sound. There was no Kendrick sound before Kendrick. If anybody else was working with his producers, y'all let me know. But from my knowledge, only his own, it was him working with Soundwave and his other people to develop his sound. He came out of nowhere, and yes, he got the cosign of Dr. Dre, and then things took off from there. But Kendrick is not a plant. You know what I mean? But and if people want to argue that, that's fine, because I know that's a conversation with Doechii in the era, whatever, right? But what Drake has done can be bought. You can buy that. I You can. If I want to supply, if I want to supply a person with a bunch of hit records and I have the money to supply that, I can supply that, because who's going to stop me? What radio station, if I say play this song, here's a bag, well, who's going to say, well, no, I don't take money? Who's going to say that?
What my argument is, they've been doing that for a very long time. They've been paying. They did it with my man Mims. They did it with They did it with Chingy. They did it with a lot of artists. It didn't last. They had a couple hot records and they were
Right,
done. They were gone. Why? Like for example, Jack Harlow. They dumped millions into Jack Harlow, and Jack Harlow couldn't. He had a couple hits, but he was in White Man Can't Jump the movie. He did a couple KFC sponsorships,
right.
but it didn't last. It didn't last.
But
I mean, it didn't last. It popped and it's
Drake,
gone.
right, Drake is an actor, a singer, and then a rapper. That's a triple threat. So of course his cachet is going to be a little different. He's a triple threat. He's an actor turned singer turned rapper. So that's something different. And again, Drake, this is not a personal shot against Drake, because I believe he's talented. Trust me. But when you have all this money behind you, that changes the dynamic. And this is why, a person just said they're not going to watch the Logic movie. I think the fans should start to play a role in the type of artist that they want to see reach another level. Realize that your support does help. It does help. Without the support of the fans, you're gonna have a more Drake. You know what I mean? And I hear what you're saying, Ron. The amount of time he held it down, and this is because at the core, I believe Drake is a hip hop head. At the core, so when all else fails, can he just go back to rapping bars? I believe that he can do that. However, when you have somebody that drops 100 hit records back to back, 100 people, did everybody hear the number that I just said? 100. That is not without industry help. It's impossible. If you drop 100 hit records back to back, and you think you're doing that off your own skill, you know what I mean? Shout out to Quentin Miller, and shout out to other people. And again, I believe Drake is good on his own, but we know that when you, it's a job, right? For certain people, it's a job. It's an art, but it's also a job. When they show up in the studio, they're getting a song done, whether they have lyrics for the song or not. So if they show up and they do not have lyrics for a song is still getting done. That means they're going to pull out a reference track, they're going to record the reference, and they're going to go home. But something was done in that session. But not everybody has the privy to a bunch of reference tracks that they can copy. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. That's the difference. Imagine y'all showing up and you just have a bunch of songs already there that you could just copy, that are there for you already. That's a different game. That's a different game. But you know what I mean? But it just depends on your goals for rapping. If your goal is to make hit records and be the number one rapper, then I'm not knocking you using references based on your goals. Then it makes sense. You know what I mean? But yes, Ron, he held it down for 15 years or whatever. But what I'm saying is, cool without a message is what lost him the battle. Kendrick is cool with a message. Drake is cool without message. So when people had to pick between the two, they're going to side with the guy who is cool and also has message, not the guy that just cool, but there's nothing attached to what he's saying.
Again, I mean, you got. I mean, I can't say. a man that's been around for 15 years don't have no messages in his music. You know what I'm saying? It might be a different message because I
What
think
other
it's
message?
you got 0 to 100, you got God's plan. You got a lot of records that Drake, put out, over the course of time. You know what I'm saying? From Take Care. I mean, I won't profess to be the biggest Drake fan, but I've heard Drake records where he's been talking about, Western Road Flows. You know what I'm saying? 6 a.m. in
Yeah,
Calabasas. I mean,
there's nothing there. There's nothing there as
I
terms of.
think so. I
It's
think
just
it's
about
personal.
I'm that.
I think it's like he's
I'm the
relative to
nigga.
like a Jay, because some people say Jay. Well, some people say Jay didn't have a lot of substance. You know what I'm saying? I disagree with that, but I've heard people on this platform, they're not
Heard
on the
that.
platform right now, so they can speak for themselves. I heard them say it on our show that
Right.
he only rapped. He wasn't. He only rapped about himself.
It's surface
Selfish.
level shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But he came in the game on reasonable doubt though. So if he came in as an established man with a story, so even if he's not saying nothing, like if he releases a song, can I get a, and even that song is a message. That's a deep message. I'm not gonna go into it, but what he's saying in that song is, why you disrespect a working class man? You know what I mean? Why do working class men get disrespected? That's the message of Can I Get It? But he came in the game of reasonable doubt. He established a character. Now Drake's established character. Who is Drake as a man? Do we know who this person is? Or is he just a guy that's very cool?
No, from what I understand from the music that I've heard of his, he's a guy that grew up in Canada that was rejected at first by hip hop because a lot of labels passed on him. You know what I'm saying? It took a while for him to get his Young Money situation. You know what I'm saying? He
Right.
had to work himself, through this to get to the point where he was making money with making songs with Little Baby and Thug and
It was sure.
Rick Ross and Wayne and Nicki situation and Birdman, and then the weekend and then Party
For
Next
sure.
Door and working with all and with Future and Metro and being the corny guy, you know what I'm saying, that became cool and made all
Right.
these records, Block Boy, JB, you know what I'm saying, 21 Savage, and make
I
all these
respect it.
records relevant for 15 years. I mean,
I respect it.
you can't tell the story. Again, I say this to a lot of artists because I respect the OGs and I respect the legends. You can't tell the story of hip hop without telling the story of Drake. This and
Okay,
think
well,
about it, and it's in his DNA. Because I would ask people that doubt what I say, who is his uncle, and who is his uncle, and what did his
who is
uncle
this?
contribute to black music and American music? You
Who
know
is
what I'm saying?
that?
Larry Graham is his uncle,
Oh,
one of the
but they're
greatest
not the
music.
same person though. They're
They're
not
not
the
the same,
same.
but it's his blood.
Oh, that's great. That's
Aubrey,
awesome. Again, this is not a shot. I'm not taking a shot. I'm just observing. What it seems to me is like Drake is the guy that will f your broad. He'll f your girlfriend or f your wife. That's his character. That's the man he is. I'm the man that will boink your wife. So if that's the character that you're running with, that's fine. I'm not I don't care whatever makes you comfortable. But that's the character that we have in Drake. And that's what's been dominating. I'm the guy that will boink your wife. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. Kendrick is a different story. It's a different story being told. So, if there is something deeper to Drake, then he will take your wife or your girlfriend. Then in the chat, you can let me know what is the deeper thing that I have missed from Drake, and that's awesome. But from what I get from Drake's music is I'm the guy that will take your wife. Period. That's my message. That's who I am as a man. I take dudes' wives. I take them down and send them home.
that's
You know,
pretty
if there
fun.
am I
That's pretty funny. He couldn't take mine, but I mean, you gotta be.
yeah,
I
I'm not
mean,
saying
He
yeah,
probably couldn't take yours. It says more about the guys that he's taking them from
right, right, right.
than himself. I mean,
it ain't that. Right? No. I'm not anybody here, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying the character that he puts forth is I'm the guy that could take your wife. That's what I'm getting from his music. And if I say, well, that ain't cool, he would say, well, you're a hater. So okay, then I guess I'll be the hater. But it's like that's the message I'm getting. Now, that surface level, right? There is deeper levels that Drake can go as far as emotional intelligence or emotional comprehension. He is very skilled in explaining emotions, right? When a girl hurts his feelings, when a girl is unloyal to him, when a girl is reminiscing on past relationships, and I will give him credit for that, because that is a skill to convey these things. He also early on he could get into a lyrical bag early on, right? So I will give him credit for that as well too. But it's just that the context of a lot of his lyrics, in my opinion, was I'm the dude that can take your girl. That's what I got. You know what I mean? And again, that I'm not mad at that because he's not the only guy to do that. There were a lot of people who have run that same archetype. It's not just Drake. It's we had a whole R&B era to where dudes was basically singing about the fact that I could take your girl. That was their
Trey
thing.
Trey
So
Songs, Mr. Take Your.
I'm not
His name was
I'm not
Mr. Take Your Girl. His nigga, I'm
yeah,
Mr. Take
yeah.
Your Girl.
That's cool. I don't. Hey, if you could take her, then she's not mine. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
If
exactly, exactly.
if you can take her, she's not mine. So hey, by
And
all
then I don't
means,
want her. I don't want her either. So you can
yeah,
have her.
take her. You know what I'm saying? Hey, take her by all means, man. But it's like that's the character that I get. Now, when we got Kendrick Lamar, though, Kendrick Lamar just offers a bunch of different stuff. It's a message rooted in blackness, a message rooted in LA culture, and where he comes from, and it's just a bunch of stuff with that. So people chose to rock with him. You know what I mean? And that's what I believe was the deciding factor. So where are we gonna go from here? And I believe that if your music is just going to be that you can take everybody's girl, that's great. That's awesome. But I don't know if you're on the same level of another artist that offers more. That's all. You know what I mean? That's all. And in respect to your number one records and your hit records, all of that is awesome. You know what I mean? This is not a diss. Like I'm not dissing. I just think people made a decision based on that. So, the cool now, because we're also going to get into other topics, and all of these topics bleed into other topics, like the Met Gala. The thing of looking cool for the sake of being cool, but there's no message attached to anything you say. I think that's dead. You know what I mean? Now, if it's not dead, then we'll see. But yeah, that's the paradise, and it looks good, man. For me, but again, I'm biased because I'm a Logic fan. I was a late Logic fan. I only got onto his music in 2020, so I'm super late. Everybody else already knew about Logic before
You know
me.
what? Let's get our Cisco and Ebert on. Let's play the Logic trailer, and
Let's
then
do
let's
it.
play. And I'll cut it out if we get a strike. I'll just cut it out later. And I want to
Okay.
play the what's the name of the movie called? What's the name of the movie called? The Spike Lee
Paradise.
joint.
Okay.
Spike Lee joint with ASAP Rocky, Denzel Washington. Let's look at these trailers,
Okay, for sure.
and then we'll play both of them, and then we'll just do our Siskel and Ebert. For those that don't know who Siskel and Ebert was, the Rotten Tomatoes of back in the
Right.
day.
Right.
So let's play it.
All right.
Hey, excuse me.
Hip hop's in the back, nigga. What the fuck? Anyways,
I'm sorry about that, sir. Welcome to Paradise. How can I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for the hip hop section.
It's right. It's just right there in the back. Thank you for meeting me, sir. Just need another extension. Just need one more extension.
How the hell do you owe $178,000?
There's got to be something I can do to save my business.
There's nothing you can do.
Fuck!
Man, what the fuck is going on with you? I taught you better than that. You a black man.
Were you here? I was losing the shop.
I heard everything in the street.
You in the streets at 70?
Nigga, I'm in the streets. I'm in the sheets.
You wild daddy.
What if we just sold a bunch of inventory?
Not to sound like an asshole, but that's literally what I try to do every single day for a living.
Yeah.
I was hoping I could fix this. Doesn't look like I can. Yeah, I'm having a bad fucking day.
Damn, plot twist.
What's that? Wow! Holy shit! These people are my family. Think this is part of the hero's journey where something crazy happens and you gotta figure it out? Nigga, this is crazy.
I know you didn't just say what I think you said.
No, you don't understand. I'm black. I mean, I'm half black. I'm biracial. I'm mixed race.
Shit, that's all you had to say.
Oh, okay. That's like my biggest fear. It just happened, actually.
Can you sign for this, nigga?
Damn, cool. He done called you a nigga in public. Nigga, you like that shit, don't you?
Doesn't he look just like me? It's weird. I don't know how you came out of my sister's vagina and not my balls. It's like a spitting image. It's funny, because, you know, he's actually half black. And he's like, it's my identity. It's who I am. No, it's fucking not. You can't identify as black, moron.
Love it.
All right. So what was the Spike Lee?
Hey, excuse me.
Hip hop's in the back, nigga. What the
Hold on. It's highest to
Okay.
lowest.
Yeah, highest to lowest.
There's more to life than just making money. It's integrity. There's what you stand for. It's what you actually believe in. Hey, back! Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe you'll be successful? Get the back! And the hard times will come from the good times. The hard times will come from success. The hard times will come from the money, and the mayhem follows. So can you handle the mayhem? Can you handle the money? Can you handle the success? Can you handle the failure? Can you handle the lovers? Can you handle the memes? Can you handle everything that there is in between? That's the question I have for you. Can you handle it? Oh, money ain't good money.
All right. So that was
Yeah.
highest to lowest. Let me get my stuff right. So yeah, we saw two films, two trailers, the
Right.
Logic films, comedy, going to premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival in July. And then you had highest to lowest, the fifth film featuring director Spike Lee, Denzel Washington, also stars ASAP Rocky, and Ice Spice is in the film as well. And will be on Apple TV, have a short run in theaters. Looks like an interesting film. I think Denzel plays a record executive in
Right.
hip hop. ASAP Rocky plays one of the label mates. I
Right.
think it looks good. What say you, Leroy?
It looks good. I think. Well, I don't know much about the second movie with Denzel, but it seems like he's playing a sort of a record executive type guy, and you got ASAP Rocky in there. We'll speak about ASAP later. But what the game comes with, right? You could have all the talent in the world. There's a lot of super talented MCs. I know a lot of them. You know what I mean? But are you prepared for what comes with the game? Now that is something different, and not everybody is cut for that, right? So I think the movie speaks to that, and that's awesome. The Logic movie, that's like, again, I was the guy that was going to the record store every week, sometimes twice a week. I'm that guy. So it broke my heart to see record stores closing, and that hurt, something personal for me. So everybody who felt that, all the record heads, I don't know if anybody in the chat, if y'all was the type of people that be all up in the warehouse, Sam Goody, Amoebas, Rasputin's,
Tower
and
Records.
Tower Records. I was that guy. Like, I have to go to all these record shops every week because I just have to. Like, it's my second home. If you were that person, then I feel like you can relate to you know, that type of movie. So I appreciate that from a Logic. And obviously I haven't saw the movie, but he's asking people to support that. Just to, and yes, he talks about the biracial thing, but I like that he can make fun of himself. You know what I mean? I think that's cool. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, in real regards, you know, there is a lot of conversation that comes with that, and these people do have a battle with being biracial, and I think that's normal. I've met a lot of biracial people that do struggle with being biracial. I'm just going to be honest. So when are we going to be honest about that conversation? They struggle with the fact that, yo, is it all right if I say the N-word? Like, my dad is black but my mom is white, I don't know if it's cool for me to say the N-word. Like, that's a real thing. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm all for that conversation. Yes, if you have a black parent, I'm all right with you identifying as black. You know, but that's a real conversation. That's all I'm saying. But the movie looks like it's funny. Like, I think dude is a funny dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, and I think the record. I mean, the movie is for a good cause. It's in remembrance of, you know, the vinyl heads, the boom bap heads, the real, you know, quote unquote real hip hop heads. So I'm with that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
Spike Lee, come
it
on now,
it
Spike Lee. That's yeah.
it kind of
Go ahead.
reminded me the Logic trailer kind of reminded me like the Kevin Smith films. I think it was Clerks or
Uh-huh.
Empire Records, Clerks, and things like that. You know what I mean? Kind of gave me that kind of feeling. So I thought, you know, you know, it's my first time looking at the trailer.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. You know, I'm not a big Logic fan. I don't check for his music, but I think this would be something I would might stream. You know, if I have some time, you know, away from the kiddos, I might check it out. Now
Yeah. Yeah.
as far as the Spike Lee highest to lowest, to someone's point in the comments, it's a teaser trailer, so it wasn't a
Mm.
full trailer, so it wasn't a lot to parse through from it. But I still thought it was dope. I still thought it was dope.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, come on, man. Spike Lee, man. I think we got to support these movies, whether it be Logic, Spike Lee, Ryan Coogler. When it's our people, especially our people, right? You could watch the movie and form your opinion later. You could watch a movie and say, "Well, I don't like that movie," and that's fine because you are entitled to your opinion. But at least you can watch the movie, though. At least, you know, when it's someone that's coming from our culture, representing our perspective, at least watch the movie. That you don't have to like it, but you could at least watch it. Do you know? And that's all I'm saying. Because we gotta keep raising the bar, you know. And like I said, Logic, he's asking his fans to support that. Benny is also asking for people that enjoy his music. If you could, you know, build a community around what he does, and I believe that's important. If you are a Griselda fan or Benny, so you know, build community around that artist and support that artist. You know what I'm saying? Because why not? If you already like the music anyway, you know what I mean? So these things are important, man. But the movie industry, that's serious business. And shout out to Ryan Coogler, you know, Oakland in the building. Hey, this man is out here putting up numbers. You see what I'm saying? So you see the power and influence of our culture. And that's a real thing. And if you could go into old Hollywood, it was just a few people that started out what we see today as Hollywood. It wasn't a whole big, huge group of people. It was a small group of people that went into the movie business, and decades later, we have Hollywood. So it doesn't take a whole nation, but we should support our own, though. You know what I mean? That's it.
No
You
doubt,
know?
no doubt. So yeah, we got our Siskel and Ebert on. For those who don't know, look it up. You know, we talked about the films. I do think that I think the Spike Lee movie is a remake. I forgot the name of the filmmaker he took it from. I think he learned about it in film school. But it's
Uh,
not even a remake, but it's a reinterpretation of the film. I'll get that to you guys, and we'll talk
uh,
about it as we get more details about it as the days
uh,
go along. But
for
yeah,
sure.
I'm interested to see. So let's talk about ASAP Rocky a little bit. Let's talk about ASAP Rocky a little bit. What did you want? Because really, you know, let me say this about ASAP real quick, right?
Mm,
I thought that ASAP, and I've said this a million times on this show, that I thought back in the day, back in the blog era, you know what I'm saying? Well, was it Live ASAP?
Yeah, right.
Um,
Long live ASAP or love, something with
it
the
was the
love and
mixtape before Long Live ASAP came out,
yeah,
before his album came out. I thought
right.
he was going to be a superstar. I thought he was going to be thought of
He-
as, and maybe he is a superstar, but I thought he was going to be more highly regarded in rap. When you talk about the big three, five, I think it could have been a big five conversation, right? Wale had his time in the blog era, but didn't quite matriculate. You know, he had an MMG run with Rick Ross, and he kind of was on Def Jam, and I think he was on Atlantic, and he kind of didn't, or Warner Brothers or something like that. He didn't really find his footing
Mhm.
by linking up with the MMG look was okay because I thought he did some good stuff with Ross. But, coming out of DC and DC not being a hotbed of music, you know what I'm saying? That might have worked against him. Then you got Cole, who's still waiting for the fall off, bro. I mean, damn, man. I mean, it's almost the fall. So hopefully the fall off will come in the fall, but I digress. Um,
Ah,
Cole is still thought of in that conversation. Obviously, there's Kendrick. But I remember the One Train record. The One Train had Action Bronson, had Danny Brown, had Big Crit. It had ASAP. It was ASAP on ASAP's first album. It had Joey Badass. It had Kendrick. It had Yellow Wolf. And I thought
right.
I'm listening to these guys go, and I'm thinking, man, ASAP, it's got that cool factor. He can actually rap. He's got the Harlem swag. He's got his ASAP mob. I thought he was going to be the guy. And then, as years went on, he really got into the fashion game. He started living in, Soho and living in Europe and being on runways, and it kind of went away from it, right? So I'm
Hmm.
interested to see what this second chapter of ASAP will be, because I always
Yeah.
thought he was immensely talented, but now, as Drake said, Drake said in Family Matters, like the only time you drop is when you talk about your fit again. You know what I'm saying? Like, he not
Hey,
even Drake. Even
that's all
Drake's not even thinking about him on his rap game. He said, and he said, you
right.
didn't tell. He said, what do you say on? What do you say on Fat? He said, you gasped because you hit my BM first. Who was I hitting then? Do the math. He was like, and
Right.
then he called Rihanna a nickname, right? I thought it was that second verse on Family Matters is savage. He's low key savage. He said, I just did a skim through it. Like he's dissed a lot of people, and because
That,
really they brought it up
that's
first. They brought the ladies up first. Like he's just telling you, like,
right.
you say you hit my BM. Who was I hitting then? You do the math. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very,
All
and he
right.
said
I
he said
get
only
it.
time you dropping is when you about to have another kid, or and everything is coming
Hey.
disrespectfully true.
Okay.
But so what's your thoughts on ASAP and where he is right now? I know he's doing the acting thing with on the new Spike Lee joint, but where are you at
Right.
with ASAP?
Well, shout out to ASAP, right? He got Rihanna's pregnant again. Shout out to ASAP Rocky. You are playing your position, sir, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I trust me. Good job, ASAP Rocky. You know what I mean? And keep them coming, right? And I do think some music should come out of that, right? When a child is in the womb of a woman, there is fluid in that sac. It's water. Vibrational sounds come off that water. Get in the studio and make some music about love, and see how far that vibration to go while she's pregnant recording. You know what I mean? Just an idea. However, I think ASAP is doing what he's supposed to do, and if Drake is playing his position, like I said, he's the guy that will take your wife. Hey, that's awesome, right? That's your position to play. And ASAP is the fashion guy. So I was going to bring up ASAP today just because of the whole Met Gala thing, and where do we go as a culture, our connection to fashion, what does it mean to be black excellence, you know what I mean? But there is a place for the fashion MC, right? The West Side Guns of the world, right? The guys that are the ghost faces of the world, the guys that are really into this fashion thing, right? But we can't half step with this thing, man. If we gonna do it, you right, then we got to take it to another level, because that is our culture, right? The theme of the Met Gala was dandyism, and I'm gonna stand with ASAP here, but that was the theme, right? But our fashion level is another level. You know what I mean? And we got to stand on that, and we got to, we might have to do better. All the women showed up. The men, you're looking a little questionable. I don't know, but I'm not talking to the same fashion houses y'all talking to, right? But ASAP, I think he did his job though. You know what I mean? He did his job. He came out and he had the chopped and screwed sound, a Houston influence coming out of Harlem. He still represented New York City, but it was just a different look and a different aesthetic with his sound. And I think he played his position and he did his thing. I like the ASAP mixtape. I like the ASAP Rocky debut album. Whether people think he's a superstar or not, that's up to everybody else to make their own decision on that. But I think he did what he was supposed to do. I am looking forward to new music from him, and he takes risk. He's an artist that musically, visually, even with his fashion, he's down to take risk. I don't have to agree with everything he does, but I do respect the fact that he's an artist, an artiste. You know what I mean? So I respect that. You know what I mean? So I do look forward to that. And everybody has their role to play. So I believe he did what he was supposed to do, and he's still doing what he's supposed to do. I'm glad that he didn't get caught up in the whole, that court situation and go down for that. I'm glad he was able to maneuver out of that. And, I'm looking forward to his new album and new music later this year. So I'm with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, my man, you hair put it he had the lyric I was trying to say. Probably gotta have a kid again before you dropping any shit again. That's on
Okay.
Drake.
I
And
yeah,
again, it's disrespectfully coming true. And again, I'm somebody that liked ASAP Rocky. I think he's immensely talented, but I just don't think, I think he's not known for music anymore. And I think that time is gone. I don't think you can recapture that. I don't think you can come back, be gone for almost a decade, at the high point, and then resurface and then be hot again. You know what I'm saying? I think it's too much time has passed. Once you let the game go, it's very hard to get the game back. You know what I
get
mean?
back where right. No, I get it. But to me though, his sound has always been about style. And that's very hard to have a career on, because if your sound is about style itself, well, in music, the styles continuously change. So you're continuously changing as a person too. But his sound is about the style itself. So he's always searching for new styles. Right? He came in with the Clams Casino, the Houston thing, but that is a style. So his job, it's not as hard as, well, it is hard, but it's not as hard as being like basing everything on lyricism, right? Like, everything about my style is purely leaning on lyricism. That's not what ASAP does, even though he's dope lyrically. But his thing is, it's built on sonics, the style itself. So there's a lot of experimentation that goes into that, and you cannot just microwave those styles. Like, he can't just pump that out every year. It's gonna take time to produce that. It just is. You know what I mean? Because of what the foundation of his music is about. You know what I mean? It's not something you can just make in a year or 2 years or even 3 years. It's gonna take some time to make those type of records. If we go back to his debut album, that's a very incredible debut album, and you can't just pump that out of thin air. You got to take your time making that. Even though it's not the lyrically most sophisticated, sonically it is though. You know what I'm saying? And that's just it is what it is. In my opinion. So that's my explanation for the length and time between albums with ASAP Rocky. You know what I mean?
Right, 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 right. I just want to bring these lyrics up real quick because I really think this is one of the most slept on verses in battle history. Nobody talks about the
Nope.
second verse.
Eh,
I, it's his
uh,
it's his it's his I declare moment. It's his his
Okay.
takeover moment. He's going at a lot of people in this verse. The Weeknd, Rick Ross, ASAP, Kendrick,
Right.
Metro, Future, Kanye. He's just going in. So he goes. Since we talking about ASAP Rocky, I'm just gonna skip to the
Mm.
Rocky part. Right? He goes. He says. Rocky talking shit again. Gas, could you
Mm.
hit my BM first? Then you do the math. Who was I hitting then? I ain't even know you. I ain't even know you rap still, because they only talking about your fit again, fashion. Because they only talking
Right.
about your fit again. So
Uh,
probably got to have a kid again before you dropping any shit again. Even when you do drop, they're gonna say you should have modeled because it's mid again. He's talking about his fashion, and then he says,
right.
because it's mid again. Uh, man, he said, as
I get
Fring,
it.
as
Yeah.
Fring, that's the nickname. Before you get your head split again, you know what I'm saying? She'll tell you to chill, leave the boy alone before you get your head split again. So it's just it's poignant because we talking about it now, the fashion, and he said it a year ago. You know what I mean?
But you ain't saying nothing though. If you saying I get fly, that's cool. I do get fly. I mean, if that's what you're saying, if you saying you hit my baby mom, excellent. That's great. I'm married to her now. You know what I'm saying? So you may have hit that, and that's awesome. But I'm married to Rihanna now, so my bread is super up. My bread is super up. If you want to play these games, but it's like what I'm saying is Drake ain't really saying nothing. You know what I mean? And it's like I respect Drake. If it was me, if I was Drake, I would have not have underestimated Kendrick Lamar. I don't know why people underestimate Kendrick Lamar. To me, that doesn't make sense. If you see that everybody loves this person and then you play them off as if they're some underground rapper, I don't know how that makes sense. But again, do what you're going to do, right? But if I was Drake, I would have said, "Look, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I came out of Canada, right? I came in as an actor that I wasn't rich. I spent summers in Memphis honing my craft around my father in Memphis. I wasn't just I didn't just come into this. I had to work to get here. See, I would have stood on that. That's what I would have stood on if I was Drake. But he didn't stand on that. He immediately went to, oh well, Kendrick, I could boink your wife, right? I could boink your baby mom, right? That's what he went to. Uh ASAP. I could boink your wife, right? You know what I mean? To me, a few years ago, I heard somebody say boinking, and I just thought it was funny. So pardon my vernacular, right? But I could hit your wife, right? That's what Drake is saying, and that's fine, bro. But that's not the dopest bar to me. That's not the hardest bars to me. That ain't like something that's like, oh, you know what I mean? So I get it, but uh I would have leaned on culture. I would have said, look, I'm Drake. I put Migos on. I put Future on. I put young, and he didn't put them on in the sense that they were already moving. But what I mean is he gave them huge records. I would have ran down my list of all the artists that I gave huge records to, including ASAP and Kendrick, and I would have rattled those off. Then I would have went into a lyrical bag. Look, when I came out with Comeback Season, I wasn't just rapping bullshit. I was really rapping. So I'm not just a bullshitter. Like I could really rap. I would have drilled down on that. Like I could really rap for real. You know what I mean? But he didn't drill down on these things. He just drilled down on superficial stuff that I don't think served him well. But it didn't serve him well. You know what I mean? It just didn't. You know what I mean? But I hear you, and no, Family Matters. I think it's cool. You know what I mean? I don't think it's as awesome as other people make it out to be. I don't think it's whack either. You know what I mean? So I'm not shitting on the song, you know what I mean? But I think it's cool. You know what I mean? But ultimately we know what happened. People they went with Kendrick Lamar, that just how it played out. So
Well, it is what it is. But speaking of hip hop fashion, we're gonna have a real probably a special. We're gonna go through like the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and the 2000s, the 2010s, to current day, the 2020s, and where we at with fashion, because it went from Tim's and Yankee hats and bubble
Right.
gooses and medallion chains and rope chains and African medallions to the X shirts to the Pele Pele to the cross colors to Fubu to Aniche to Mecca to you had Don Dada, you know what I'm saying, and you had Supreme, and you had so many different things, you know what I'm saying? The ladies was wearing apple bottoms, and you had the Pele Pel, and you had, Fat Farm and Sean
Right.
John, and we're gonna break in the rope earrings, you know what I'm saying? The ladies had their hair all fly with the little I forgot what you call it, the greased down joints, you know what I mean? So we're gonna talk about all that, you know what I'm saying? And the skinny jean era, you know what I'm saying? And the graphic tees. And so we want to talk about this. I want to ask you though, Leroy, would you ever, if we get invited to the Met Gala, we blow up, you know what I'm saying? Like we get to like 1 million, 2 million, 3. I don't know how many subscribers you gotta have to go to the Met Gala. I don't even know if I
Right.
would accept the invitation or not, but just say we get an invite. You know what I'm saying? They invite you, Leroy Greens, to the red carpet. Would you wear a piano on your back? Was that something that you would rock? You know what I'm saying? And they were raising money for a good cause. They're raising money. All the money gonna go back to the hood. You know what I'm saying? Go to educational music
Is
programs.
that where the money went to
I
the
don't know.
hood?
I'm just saying, hypothetically, we get invited to the Met Gala
I'm not
2026,
going.
2027. They said all the money that's raised is going to go to the Harlem Boys Choir. They're going to buy new instruments and, take them all around. It's going back to a good cause. Would you wear a piano on your back, sir? Would you wear one?
N- No, I would not wear a piano on my back. And no, if it was for a good cause, then we can talk. If it's for a good cause, my issue is when you raise $31 million in one night, and we've never raised $31 million for our own community in 400 years. I have a slight issue with that. But you know, I'm not going to the Met Gala because I view it as me flashing my money in front of poor people's faces. That's how I view it. Now, I'm not saying everyone has to agree with that or side with that. I'm saying that's my personal opinion. So I'm not going to participate in that because I don't feel the need to flash my wealth in front of poor people. Now, if it's for a good cause, though, then I'll change my position on that. But no, I'm not wearing a piano on my back. I get it. You know what I mean? Andre is an artist. I'm not mad at him playing instruments. I think that actually is dope. I think that if we get back into an instrument bag, I'm with that, right? You know what I mean? I don't play any instruments. I did as a kid, but that was just in school before they cut out the music programs. But you know, I'm with that. But it's like the fashion though. What are we doing with the fashion, right? I want everybody to, when it comes to our culture, right? Look up the Moorish Empire or the Moors and look at what we were wearing to battle. Even we're wearing this on the battlefield. The type of material we got on, the silks and the thread count of what we working with, and the design of what we doing, and the gold accents and the jewelry we got on. We invented what it is to be fly. We are the definition of what it is to be fly. So, in my view, I'm not racing to give every European credit for my flyness. Oh, well, Versace, and I got Versace, Fendi, Balenciaga, Gucci, all these other people. I'm giving them credit for my flyness. I do this without your name brands. Without your name brands, I was already fly in anything. I could put it together. Stuff with no brand. I mean, with no real fancy name. I could put it together, and I'm gonna outfly the flyers. Trust me. I'm a little older now. I'm not concerned with material stuff. But young Leroy Green, will outfly you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Young Leroy Green was a fly dude, man. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I'm saying is that's built into who we are. That's our culture. So, I got to really ask, are we the type to be rocking purses in our neighborhoods? I don't know. Where I'm from, dudes wasn't really carrying purses.
They
They
call them
was
messenger. They call them messenger bags. They call them
they was
messenger
carrying
bags.
hammers. We was carrying weapons. So how we go from weapons, hammers, Glocks, how we go from that to purses, I don't understand what that is about. But I do understand it's a compromise. Uh, and I'm just asking us, when it comes to this fly stuff, we invented that. So how we go from hammers to purses, now we could take that out, right? We could take that off the table, right? Because we're not going to show up to the Met Gala, armed. But when it comes to this flyness, though, if we gonna really do it for the rest of our time in hip hop, let's really do it, man. We can't keep playing like some guys understood the assignment. I'm not mad. ASAP Rocky, I'm not mad at how he was dressed. Sierra's husband, the brother, what's that brother's name, man? I'm
Russell
not
what?
mad at
Russell Wilson.
right. Russell Wilson. I'm not mad at the brother, man. Some of these guys, they knew the assignment, they showed up. So boom, I get it. But some of these brothers, man, it's like, come on, man. If we gonna be fly, let's take it to another level, man. We can't just be out here looking crazy, man. That's not our fly. We not, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so Cardi, she understood the mission. Okay, Cardi, I'm with it. Cardi fly. Pusha, okay, I understand the mission. Yo, Pusha, not everything is about hustling. Okay, I see what you're doing, right? But not everything is about hustling, my brother. You know what I'm saying? But I respect the game. I see what you're doing, but come on, my guy. Okay, Nikki, she understood the assignment. Boom, Nikki, fly. I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Central
whoever that
C.
is,
Central
Central
C
C.
from the
Okay,
across the
okay.
pond. Great, our British brother, Central C.
Okay. He understood the assignment. I'm with it. Boom. You know what I mean? Who is that? Is that Pharrell? Okay, Pharrell. That's the when it comes to this fashion thing, Pharrell. That's the god, man. That's the guy right there. So he understood the mission. Not every a lot of people was good. You know what I mean? I don't want to just make it seem like I'm just attacking everybody. That's not now. Doja Cat, what's going on, Doja? I need to know what's going. Doja, we gotta. That ain't it. That ain't it, Doja. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Dochi. I mean, what? Dochi. Love Dochi. The Egypt remix. Fire. I just put some bars on that. Dochi, but come on, Dochi. Come on, what we doing? You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I'm just saying overall, y'all, if we gonna do this fashion thing, let's do it the right way. Andre with the piano on your back again, and you got a trash bag in your hand or something. Love you, Andre, but what we doing? You know what I'm saying? What we doing? My guy, who's that? That's Jaden. Okay, Jaden. I don't know what Jaden be doing
I
these.
think that outfit rendered you speechless, Leroy.
Yeah, I don't know what. I mean, take the blanket off and we in there. You know what I mean? But
Okay. Okay.
and I no, Lizzo, okay, boom. And I rock with Lizzo. I know a lot of people feel a way about Lizzo, but I think she's very talented. You know what I mean? What we got? I mean, Swiss. Okay, you got the do rag on. Okay, I see you. Alicia, I see you. Now what Stormzy, whatever.
British brother, British brother.
British brother. Okay. You may want to put a jacket on. Maybe put a jacket on that, my guy. You know what I mean? Questlove. All right. He kept it simple. You know what I'm saying? He kept it simple. But as far as our fashion, right? Everything we do is connected to a message. Where is the message? Do you know that our clothes deliver a message too? It's not just clothes. And that's what was completely absent in the gala. There is no message attached to, black dandyism. When we used to get hung from trees, we used to be fly when we got hung from trees. Now that sounded very callous how I just said that, right? Because we're talking about real lives of thousands of black men and people, but we was fly when we was hanging from them trees. You know what I mean? Because we will be damned if you can take our lives, but we gonna fight you the whole way through. We gonna fight if it means we gotta hang fly, then we hang and fly.
I,
Where come on,
I don't know
come
how
on.
to respond to that one, but I will ask this,
Yeah.
Leroy.
Yeah.
um,
We was
so
hey, I'm
so
gonna keep it a
I'm
buck.
gonna ask another hypothetical question, right? So it's a year from now, we pop and we got about 2 million subs. You know, we're on a set. You know, everything is rolling, right? And we get invited to the Met Gala, and they say,
Right.
"Hey, you know, we got you, Leroy. We're gonna dress. We've been working with Pharrell, and we're gonna get you in some Louis, and I think this will be good. We're gonna give you a bag. I'm gonna give you a bag like this. I'm gonna show you the bag real quick. We're gonna give you this
We
bag,
don't
and it's
wear
gonna
back.
and we're gonna give you $1 million to appear, Leroy, right? And in that bag is gonna be $1 million, and we're also gonna give you $1 million to your charity of choice. Will you be rocking the bag like this, Leroy, for a million? Would you rock the bag? Would you rock this bag that Pluto Metro? So would you rock that bag?
For $1 million, am I gonna carry the bag?
Carry
Yeah,
the bag.
for $1 million, yes, I'm gonna carry the bag just as long as this million can go to a good charity. If it's gonna go to a good cause that's gonna help a black community, that's going to okay, I'll carry the damn bag. You know what I'm saying? I'm not I don't need your $1 million. You know what I'm saying? But if it's gonna go to a good cause, then you know what I mean? Okay. Now am I gonna keep some of the million? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's like, what is the cause? How come we do things with no cause? Again, $31 million was raised in one night, and then we all drive past the ghetto where people are starving literally, and we think it's okay. But we give all this million to white folks. Here, white people, we're just happy to be there. And it's like, what is that about? I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that I don't understand that.
Right.
One night,
One night.
31 million. One night.
So what?
And we in 400 years, we ain't raised 31 million. But in one night,
Did you have
when
a
one
problem?
now
Did you have a problem when that night that former president, vice president, Fred? They said she broke a record and she raised. It was a 30 how many 100,000 black women on a call. They raised
it wasn't
30
no presidents at the Met Gala.
30
What
million
president
in
was
one
at
night.
the Met Gala?
They raised 30 million in one night. Nobody said nothing about that. You know what I mean?
I mean, your president now wipe his ass with 31 million. He wipe his ass with that. He ain't never gonna give that to no black community. Promise you.
Well,
Promise.
again,
But there
but
was no
my question
president.
is the my
What
question is
president
the
was at the Met Gala?
my question. I'm just kind of challenging your point, because there was allegedly a call with 30,000 black women on that raised $30 million in a couple hours. And why couldn't we do that for a failed presidential campaign, but we can't do that for our own? I just think it's telling that we can't do that. You know, we can't get on a call and raise it for some other purposes, and we can do it for that.
If I work for the American government, no, I cannot give you millions of dollars. I'm just gonna be honest. If I work for the American government, my job is to uphold the American government. Now the problem is we think that we are the American government because that's our psychology, but there is a separation there between us and them. If I'm working in the White House, then no, you will not be getting no deal from me to help out your neighborhood. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My job is to work for the American government, not to. I'm not. I'm not going against that. Now, but at the Met Gala though, when we have Future, we have ASAP, we have all these people that we have all these ball players that come from our communities. They're not the white. They're not the president. Now again, I realize when it comes to money, things can get sticky. and things could be, we can be the last one, we can be the last ones that ever get consideration or no consideration at all. But I'm merely pointing out the fact that in one night we were able to raise more than anything we've done in 100 years as far as an event goes for ourselves. How long are we going to raise money for these fashion houses that are already supremely wealthy and then drive back through the ghetto and do nothing? I just need to know. That's all. That I just need to know. If I can raise 30 million, but and whatever city they were in, right? I'm sure whatever city they were in somewhere got a ghetto next to it. They couldn't do nothing for that community that was right next to it. So that's my issue. I'm not asking everybody to have the same issue that I have. You don't have to agree or think like I do, but I can't go up and flash all my wealth in front of poor people. That's just not what I'm not cut from that. I'm not cut from that. You know what I mean? It has to be a cause, and that's because that's in line with Black tradition. A lot of our traditions, they were anchored in a cause. They were. So by me attaching a cause to an event, to fashion, to music, that's not me being going out on a limb or me being different. I'm in line with what our cultural history has been about. I'm just upholding tradition. That's all. Where is that tradition now? And this is why I think that when I say where is hip hop going to go post battle, I think hip hop has made a choice that we do not want cool, empty cool without substance. Now, again, if y'all like your music without substance, awesome. I'm awesome. I'm with that. But I think there is room for some music to have some substance too now. You know what I mean? And I think that's what Kendrick is getting back to. I think that's what the Met Gala was missing. I think that, and instead of holding purses, hold a weapon. You know what I mean? Something tough. You know what I mean? Or something fly. You know what I mean? But we got to get back to like something real to me, or else we're just playing. That's just my opinion. No diss, no shots. I think I showed everybody love for the most part, but it's like we got to stand for something. Empty shows of wealth with no substance. I think I'm over that. I'm over that now. You know what I mean? Respectfully.
No
You
doubt, no
know?
doubt, no doubt. We got another topic I wanted to get into tonight. Podcasts. We've got a podcast. There's other people in this space, as they call it, have podcasts. There's companies that are they're treating, kind of like what, when Mike and I, especially we thought about a long time ago, like having like a podcast network. So there's the Volume, which was founded by Colin Cowherd, ESPN Radio, went over from ESPN Radio, and now he's on Fox Sports Radio. So under the Volume, you have Club Shay Shay, I think was under the Volume, and also Nightcap. So now there's a new podcast in the game. Joe and Jada, they had Fat Joe, Jadakiss had their first episode last week. They talk about music, sports, stories.
Right.
Joe has been, had a couple different shows. He had the I think some show that he had on Title where it was like the El Chapo Tunnel podcast, and he had the Jopra
Right.
joint during the pandemic. He was Jopra when people would call into his show. He had on IG. Then he had a talk show, I think, on Stars. So he's been trying to get into the talk show space, pod space for a minute. But now you got the Volume presenting Joe and Jada. Did you check out any of this episode, Leroy? As the audience, have you seen this? And what are your thoughts? I've got a few, but I'll ask you first.
I did check it out, and respect to them as being artists that I grew up on. So I take nothing away from their musical contribution. It's only love and respect as far as that is concerned. But with this pod thing, respectfully, I think you're gonna do what everybody else does. You're gonna wake up, Google the most popular topic, and you're just gonna run down that. And that's fine. You know what I mean? If that's what I do is something different. Now I know a lot of people ain't really caught on, especially last year, or the type of albums I reviewed back to back to back to back to back to back, and I was the only person in the space doing these type of albums. I'm speaking to a different type of hip hop head, right? The hip hop head I'm speaking to is gets ignored. No one is going to speak to the hip hop heads I speak to. And there, if and then when there is, it's just a few little comments here and there. But everybody else, you're going to take the most trending topic and you're just going to run that down. And you know that if that's what it's going to be, then that's what it's going to be. But I am not worried about it because I speak to a different type of head. I thought it was cool again, and they do bring a wealth of experience to the table because they could get into a story bag. Jada Kiss could say, "Oh, I remember when I was on tour somewhere and this happened or that happened." They can get into a story bag. Awesome, right? I think that's cool. But respectfully, from the from just the first episode that I seen, y'all ain't gonna run down nothing. You ain't gonna talk about the Met Gala how I just talked about it. You ain't gonna talk about the Tribeca Film Festival how I just talked about it. You ain't gonna talk about the battle in the culture versus vulturism or the way I just talked about it. There's going to be a clear difference between and it's not because one is better than the other. It's just because we have a different perspective. We have different goals and different perspectives. So shout out to them. I respect them for doing what they do. Everybody, if you're gonna follow that, follow that. But when I'm here, I'm actually talking about culture, not just the latest, hottest song. I'm not just looking for the new Not Like Us every week or the new Family Matters every week. What I'm talking about is something different. You know that, and that's all I have to say. And if that is taken away, which I don't think nobody would take it away, but you never know because you know people people throw shots, and I respect it. You know what I mean? But it's like we're not the same. We're not the same, and everybody has their own challenges and stuff like that. But when I'm here, I got to talk about culture, man, on a different. I can't just run down um, the Kendrick and Drake forever. And that's no disrespect, but I can't just run that down forever. I can't run down the most popular thing of the week every time and then ignore all the artists dropping music. I can't do that. I have to talk about music. I'm sorry. This is hip hop. I came here to talk about hip hop. Well, I just ran down Lloyd Banks last week. These guys ain't gonna be talking about a Lloyd Banks. You know what I'm saying? And respectfully, maybe they will, but that's the type of stuff. It's not. These guys ain't gonna be talking about a Boldy James. Do you know what I'm saying? That's not part of their agenda. You know what I mean? So that's just how I feel about it.
No,
You
right,
know what
no
I
doubt.
mean?
So let's hear what they had to say about this Kendrick situation. And I think Joe had an interesting take, and I want to kind of get your thoughts on it before we go to our last topic and wrap up.
All right. Got a police chasing somebody outside the window, man. Pardon me. My neighborhood's Maney. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but it is what it is. But yeah, I could have went into Elzai, Jericho Jackson new shit. I could have went into Daylight, Backpack Culture. I could have went into Exhibit, Ice Cube, Kingmaker. Man, what y'all want to do, man?
Get
Y'all
some
not gonna run
spins in
that
the
down.
LA radio. Nah.
Everybody from LA gets spins
Yeah,
on
but
LA
you never
radio.
seen. When's the last time you went and put on the radio in LA? I was there
I was
last
just
weekend.
there. I was there like last week
Yo,
too.
bro, I never seen nothing like this. Like every single song, they like to turn the TV off. The other one, this, that, the
They
this,
still get a lot of
the scissor, the
it's
Luther, the
spinning.
this, like
It's spinning.
what?
It's spinning.
It's a fact. Kendrick Lamar gets played 9 out of every 10 songs in LA right now. Not even Snoop Dogg, not even Tupac Shakur, not nobody from LA has dominated the paint. Like this guy, this last year, what they doing in LA, You know, if you from LA, you think there's only one guy on earth, Kendrick Lamar. I'm just keeping it a buck with you. You turn on that radio in LA, if you from LA, you work at Target, okay, Amazon, you delivering some shit, you working at the bakery, panaderia, whatever, East LA homes, you thinking there's one man breathing in hip hop. It's called Kendrick Lamar. I'm keeping it a buck with you.
No, he had a hell of a year.
Jesus.
He had a hell of a career, but the last year, so
What do you
been
think
doing his
about
thing.
beef in hip hop? Like I didn't answer.
All right. So, do you
All
think?
right.
Okay, I got a couple questions to ask about this. Right. So,
Okay.
is Joe serious? Is he trolling? And let me ask the audience: do you guys listen to the radio? Is the radio still for our demo? Right, 30s, 40s, late 20s, 50s. Is the radio still part of your everyday music experience? For me and people I know, and I'm just observing people in my family, when we get in our phone is attached to the Bluetooth. You know what I'm saying? So we either got the Sirius joint or we playing something that's on our Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music. So I rarely listen to the radio at all. I haven't probably haven't listened to the radio like maybe in like 12, 13 years. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get my music from the radio. I don't listen to the DJs. If I like the morning mix or the afternoon drive mix, I just
Yeah.
pull up a mix on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I play a mix that I want to listen to, or they even got mixes on Apple Music. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. So I can't, I haven't been to LA in a while, so maybe he is dominating radio. But I do know when I was listening to radio that Snoop was on the radio heavy, Pac was on the radio heavy, and this is Kendrick Lamar's time, so maybe that could be like, he says 9 out of 10 records are Kendrick records, and if you were in LA, you wouldn't know that any other artist exists besides Kendrick. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? And again, are we still consuming the music through the radio like that? So I don't know. Leroy, I throw it to you. I have so many questions. I don't have many answers.
Okay. So wherever y'all are from, I want you to look at the state that you're from, and then look at the size of California. Do you see the size different? I'm just talking just mass of land. Do you see the size difference? How many people you think live in California? So when we talk about the why it matters, if you blow up on California radio, do you know where you're gonna go? How fast you're gonna shoot up to number one? Again, I need everybody just to look at the size of California versus wherever you live at. And that's no disrespect to Atlanta. I love Atlanta. So this can never be a diss. You know what I'm saying? But just the size alone lets you know that California radio is a different monster. It's a different monster. Yes, Kendrick is getting played like he's Tupac. Yes, he is the equivalent of that, of a Tupac. Now, again, I said that just to, cause I
No,
know
no,
y'all, a lot of people are gonna get upset
yeah, I
because
am. I'm gonna get upset. I'm gonna get
you're gonna
upset.
get emotional. You're gonna get emotional, and I understand your emotions, but let's just talk just numbers. See what I'm saying? Now, when we go there, it's a different conversation. We got put everybody. Let's put our emotions to the side, right? Tupac was one of the greatest of all time. His major impact happened between 1992 and 1996. That was 5 years. Kendrick's major impact happened between 2011 and 2025. How many years is that? Right? So, this is the difference between 5 years and 16 years. Do you see what I'm saying? Why someone who's selling out arenas around the country has reached another level. I'm sorry. Again, let's remove our emotions and let's just talk about just the size of and the numbers of what's happening and how the internet is moving and how many people there are in California. Because you may not listen to the radio, but out of 100 million people, some of them millions do listen to radio. You see what I'm saying? So we cannot count that out. You know what I mean? And again, this is not an emotional conversation. This is just about a size conversation and somebody who's been in the game for 15 years at a certain level and how they're moving. You know what I mean? So yes, Fat Joe is right. When you go to LA, if you're not playing Kendrick Lamar, that's a problem. If you go to Atlanta and you're not playing Kendrick Lamar, I need to know what y'all doing.
They're
What are
not.
we doing?
So they're not play. They playing
So
on the.
you can't talk like your culture. Kendrick Lamar is culture. Now Atlanta, you mean in New York? Kendrick Lamar is culture. You not playing the culture?
Well, they're
What are we
not
doing?
playing it. They're not playing. I know the DJs,
What are we
and I'm
doing?
just saying the DJs are not playing the records in the spots. I
Yeah.
don't
So
listen. I don't
so
listen.
so
I
put
don't
on
listen. I don't
Kendrick
listen
Lamar.
to radio, but I don't know if they're.
You're not playing
I
culture.
assume. I assume they're playing it on radio. But if you go to the clubs, the lounges, the bars, the strip clubs, the
No, you
barbershops,
not culture.
they're not
You not
playing.
culture.
Well, we are culture. They're not playing his music.
So without Kendrick Lamar, you culture?
Maybe his music. Have you ever thought his music's just not resonating with the people of the city?
Without Kendrick Lamar, you claiming culture? Now I get it
They
because
just
you're
don't
gonna
like
say
his music.
so you can't be claiming culture though too though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we
Because I
can.
get it. You're gonna say there are other people besides Kendrick Lamar, but the guy who's the most hottest in the game, who actually does have substance in his music, who actually have a message of positivity. You not playing that? You who you running to? Young Thug? What are
No,
we doing?
I've heard in the
What are
club
we
when
doing?
I was out celebrating with my daughter. My old ass was out there doing that. I heard Little Baby, The Baby, Future,
The
Thug.
baby?
The DJ did play the Baby record. He played the Baby
The
record.
baby?
I heard Drake. I heard Migos.
Drake?
I
Drake?
heard Little Baby.
Little
Um,
baby?
I heard Glorilla.
Okay.
I heard even some I heard
Okay.
some old Ross. I heard
Okay. Y'all playing the
uh
baby.
but I heard a
We
lot of
playing
Drake
Kendrick
though. I
Lamar.
heard a lot of Drake. I didn't hear not
Y'all
one.
playing the baby.
Hey,
And
we went
again,
to
I respect the baby. We're because y'all playing the baby. We playing
I
Kendrick
said
Lamar.
I'm gonna say that was just one song I heard.
Different level.
What I'm
Different
saying is
levels.
I went to 4 different places and I heard a lot of I didn't hear not one Kenny record.
Okay, so don't be talking like y'all culture. That's all I'm saying. Like again, and again, you are culture. If I step into the streets of Atlanta, I'm making a separation from the streets. I know who is really doing what and what it's really about. But what I'm saying is, when you not looking at somebody like a Kendrick Lamar, who is consistently winning, putting on every year, putting on. It's like, and even if you say, well, he didn't do this year or whatever, Kendrick Lamar is the guy you're not playing. We got a problem. Y'all not feeling Kendrick Lamar? Really? Now,
And
and
again,
I'm not even
I don't know I don't know what it
disrespecting.
is. Maybe the music doesn't mix well in the DJ sets. I don't know, but it's just not being played. That's what I'm just
The
saying.
music don't mix well in the set. What are we doing,
I
DJs?
don't know.
What
I
are
don't
we
know.
doing?
I,
You can't mix Luther. You can't fit in Not Like Us. You can't fit in TV Off. You can't fit in Luther. You can't fit in. I mean, DJs? What are we doing? What are we doing? You can't fit in Kendrick Lamar? Really? So and I get it. We all got our own personal biases, but come on now. When we have somebody like a Kendrick Lamar who just had the year he just had, and we gonna act like he not in the room, what are we doing? What are we doing? So Fat Joe is correct. When you come to California, welcome to Kendrick Land. Welcome, and because he's earned it. Again, we are a gangland state. We're into gangster music. Kendrick brought a completely different energy. So we had to switch. We was about gangster activity. We had to switch into another activity, but he earned that from us. He just earned it. He knocked Drake Dome off. Then he came with the GNX. That's right after the Mr. Morale. Come on, like what? And I like Mr. Morale. I'm sorry. I know that
so
I
so
don't like,
I
but
got a
I like.
couple. I got a couple of trips planned. I got a couple of trips planned. So I'm going to Nashville, and I'm gonna give you. I should do a segment on this show, on our show. Like I'm gonna like I'm gonna say how many places I went, and I'm even gonna interview the DJs. I'm gonna interview the DJs. I'm gonna ask them what are they
Yeah.
gonna play. I don't want to interrupt their sets, but I'm gonna ask them are they gonna play a Kendrick Lamar record in their set. So I'm going to Las Vegas. I'm going to Dallas, Texas, and I'm going to Nashville, Tennessee. I'm gonna go to 15 different places. I'm gonna go to some predominantly black establishments. I'm gonna go some top 40 establishments. I'm gonna go to some hip hop. I'm gonna go to the hood. And I wanna go, I might do a whole special. I might edit it up. I might have a camera crew. I'm gonna go out and say where I'm gonna go to the barbershops and I'm gonna see how many times I'm gonna walk down the streets. How many times I hear a Kendrick Lamar record play? I just wanted to see.
A lot of y'all DJs are whack too, though. You're whack. So we'll keep that in mind, but a lot of y'all are whack. We're just gonna be 100. DJ culture has completely fallen off. Why? Because y'all are trash. Respectfully, if you're not trash, then send me a link and I will go listen to your set. Honestly, I will. But a lot of y'all are trash too, though. That's why you don't play Kendrick Lamar, because you whack. You
All right, so
whack. Your
everybody's
club
whack in
is whack.
America. Everybody's
Your
whack in
club is
America. Then
whack. Your
everybody's whack in.
barbershop is whack. Your DJ set is whack. Now, if I'm wrong, again, but I'm just saying, a person drops a whole album and you can't figure out how to mix in a song from that album. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Maybe they
You
played
up
it.
there playing for
Maybe
3
they played it
hours.
and didn't get no response that they wanted. Maybe they
You
played it. And it
playing
was like,
for you playing for 3 hours and can't find a Kendrick Lamar song. What are we doing? That's all I'm saying. Like, and now if the crowd don't respond, it means you whack. I'm sorry, and again, y'all are better DJs than I am, so I'm super whack if I'm calling y'all whack
nah.
because if we had a,
I'm not,
y'all gonna beat me.
and I'm not
You know
saying.
what
I'm not saying.
I'm saying?
I like. I'm a big Section 80 fan. I like Damn. I like some of these records on GMX. I'm not saying the music is not good. I'm just saying that when I go out to these cultural spaces, 'cause I think you even use this word. I'm using your own terms. Leroy says, I think you said this on the show that music used to be communal and people used to share music. And that's
It
why there's
still
no
is.
consensus. There's no consensus for music anymore. And you even said this. I can roll the tape back. I'm using your own
Okay.
words. You said music is communal and it's a shared space. When I go to these shared spaces, I'm not hearing this man's
Shay,
songs. That's
come
all
to
I'm saying.
California. Come to
That's
California
home team
again.
games, baby. That's home
But
team
again,
games, baby.
if you're not from California, I don't expect you to rock with Kendrick Lamar because you're not supposed to. This is California. Y'all rock with where you from. You not. I'm just saying though. I would appreciate it though if you do. But if you don't, well, this is California. You're not supposed to be on this side. So I get it. But right now, at this moment, for y'all not to be playing Kendrick Lamar, I think is kind of bizarre. Because how many records does this man have to drop before y'all play something?
Right.
Like he done dropped like 25 records.
And that's why
Y'all can't,
I thought it was
y'all ain't pick
strange.
one.
I
Y'all
thought it
ain't
was,
pick
and
one.
I thought it was bizarre too because this man is breaking records on this tour. He's got the number one record in the country. GNX is doing well. The Super Bowl success. I would think that the songs will be ringing off blocks. I would think
Cause
that.
y'all don't want to rock with California like that. You think it's we the enemy. We not the enemy. We not the enemy. We just some niggas on the west.
And now I
You
don't
know
have
what I'm
the. And no, Paul H. I don't have the worst takes. I have the most honest takes. I'm the only person that's not going to say anything that the corporate media pays them to say. I go out. I'm like a new school A&R. I go out and I listen to A&R man used to go out, go into the community and listen. Just because you don't agree with my takes, don't make them the worst takes. I'm telling you,
No,
and I
you
can
good.
and Mr. Paul, I can sponsor you from According to Hip Hop. You can travel with me to
You
Houston, to
good.
Dallas, to Austin, to Nashville, to Chicago, to New York. We can go all around this country. And then you can observe me and my take, and we can go to these communal spaces and see if these music are going to be in play. And it's just not. And
To
again,
the rest of the
I
country.
find it odd as someone who's breaking records with this tour, who has one of the number one albums in the country, who has the number one songs. No one's really playing the music that I've
Yeah,
heard in the spaces that I've been. I find it very strange.
I think Atlanta is very strange. Y'all are the home of Martin Luther King, and y'all not rocking with Kendrick Lamar. I think that's strange. Philly, y'all not rocking with Kendrick Lamar. New York, Florida, Mississippi, wherever, Chicago, the blackest parts of America. You mean to tell me you not rocking with Kendrick Lamar? I need to know
Oh,
what's going on. The
oh,
blackest spaces. Who
we
are
got the
y'all rocking
bots.
with
We got
then?
the bots turning on me, but it's okay. I'll have the worst takes, but I have the honest takes. I have the most
Guys,
honest takes, and that's fine. I'm gonna keep it a real. I'm not paid by Interscope. I'm not paid by anybody. I pay for these trips. I'm on my own pocket, and I'm giving you a true assessment. If it was, if I was to go to these places, and I was, and actually, brother, I was in Philadelphia
but
3
it's
months
bigger than
ago. I was in Philadelphia 3 months ago. I
yeah,
was in Philadelphia about 3, 4 months ago, sir, and I'm sorry. I was on Broad Street. I was in
right.
South Philly. I didn't hear this man's music, man. Y'all need to keep this
Yeah,
a
y'all
buck, man.
tripping, Philly. Y'all
Oh, let's keep
tripping,
this a
and
buck.
I've been
Yeah.
Philly. Y'all tripping because in Philly, y'all wanna stay on Beanie Siegel forever. When do you move past Beanie Siegel? No, no disrespect, no disrespect. Y'all want to stay on Beanie Siegel forever. At what point do y'all even play the Roots, Philly? You know how long the Roots been holding y'all down, Philly. Instead of y'all showing me y'all gangster, because I see that Philly people, I love it, I recognize it. Instead of showing me your gangster, you not rocking with Kendrick Lamar? See, now, so this is bigger than Kendrick Lamar to me. This is about DJ culture. How come y'all can't mix in these records? How come y'all can't? You got a whole album to work with. Two albums, Mr. Morale and GNX. You in a 2 hour, 3 hour set, you can't figure out how to put Kendrick Lamar in there? Really? Philly, Atlanta, Chicago, New York, Virginia, Florida? Come on now. Come on. Come on now. You know what I mean? So we California, we gonna hold it down for California artists because that's what we're supposed to do. But I need everybody to like get out of the way. When you see this young man, he's not young no more, but he's younger than me, so I'm calling him a young man. When you see this young man breaking down barriers, standing on culture, Xing out bullshit, and you not gonna rock with this young man, I need to know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because wasn't y'all asking for the real niggas to come back through the game? What isn't that what y'all wanted? Kendrick ain't that? He's not that. I need to know what's going on. You know, and again, I'm not even the biggest Kendrick guy like that. I'm from the Ice Cube era. I'm don't yeah, and I know y'all heard some bars from me recently. Don't think it's all peaceful and zen about ancient Kemet, because I'm a different animal. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the Ice Cube era. But we have to respect Kendrick at this point, y'all. Like, how long, how many years does this guy got to show you? Section 80, Good Kid, To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, Untitled, Black Panther soundtrack, Mr. Morale, GNX. Does this man got to show you again who he is? You know what I'm saying? Come on. Respectfully, love though. I'm just messing with everybody, really. You know I
Again,
got love for Atlanta. I got love for Philly.
again,
Come on.
we just having an interesting conversation. And again, I do love rigor mortis. I do love Ronald Reagan era. I do love Section 80. I love Damn. I like some songs with Good Kid, Mad City.
Mr.
Uh,
Morale got some bangers for the club. Somebody said, "Who playing Mr. Morale?" Have you heard the Mr. Morale album? It's bangers on there. What are we talking about? That's
so
all. What are
yeah,
we talking?
so yeah, I'm just saying, I'm just a cultural observer. Let me tell you who I am. I'm Ron. I love my family. I love hip
Shout
hop.
out. Yeah.
I love my friends, and I like to travel. And when I go to travel, I have this thing that I do. I listen to music in different situations. Like I can remember where I heard a song at. Like if I was on the Upper West Side of New York and I heard a Pearl Jam record or a Bruce Springsteen record or a James Brown or a Prince record. When I'm in London, I like to go into spaces, get a drink, and just listen. This is what I do, and this is why that's why I speak the way I speak. I just randomly go to different places, and I sit down, order me a drink, and it's like they call people watch. I music watch, and I just
I get
listen.
it.
So when
I
I was in
get it.
London, I found it interesting. They were playing like a lot of DJs were playing like early 2000s records. They was playing Fabulous and 50 and Maya and
Right.
Wyclef. They were playing and Ja Rule and Ashanti. You know what I'm saying? I just sit back and observe what people are doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like,
Right.
you know, even like play Nelly. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was odd. They were bumping these records like they were new. You know what I mean?
I understand, but Ron, if they're not playing Kendrick Lamar, that says more about them than Kendrick. You got to ask them DJs. You mean to tell me I've been in this club for 2 hours and you ain't played a Kendrick record? I need to know what's going on, brother. I need the hottest person in hip hop, the hottest guy. You can't find a record. What DJs? I need to know what's going on. I need to
Yeah.
know how you miss the hottest guy. Granted, you're not playing Boldy James, but you missed the hottest guy. I need to know what we're doing. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Well, we'll find out. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna ask more people. But before we get out of here, I want to say shout out to my beautiful wife. Shout out to my mother. Shout out to everyone's mothers on the platform. Uh, you know, this is Mother's Day. We wouldn't be here without our mothers. Their love and support and giving us the gift of life that God gave them. Now we get to share our takes, our good takes, and our whack takes, our bad takes with you guys. You can
Right.
thank. I'll thank our mothers for that, respectfully, of course. So Complex put out a list of Mother's Day songs. The top is back in 2018. They put this list out. The top Mother's songs about moms. So I'm gonna just share this real quick, and we'll get out of here and get Leroy's opinion on some of these records.
All right.
Number 15, The Lonely Island Mama. I don't think I heard this record by Croc Down. I hadn't heard this record. I don't know
They
what
doing
this
all
is.
the genres, I guess.
No, it's a
Yeah,
hip hop. Little B, Best
uh,
Mom Ever.
okay.
I don't know that one. You remember that one?
No, I don't. Sorry.
13,
Oh,
Rick
that
Ross, Smile Mama
beautiful
Smile.
record. I love that record.
What, the
The
Rick Ross
Smile Mama.
joint?
I love that song. That is a beautiful song. If y'all need to go hear that, Smile Mama Smile by Rick Ross is a beautiful song. Okay? With CeeLo. You trust me. Y'all need to go hear that.
Good record, good
Okay.
record. J.
Yes.
Cole, Apparently.
I
By
remember
Florence.
that. I remember.
Dope
Yeah,
record.
that was cool. Yeah, that was cool. I ain't mad at that one. That
Really
was cool.
dope record. Forest Hill Drive is a dope project. Dope record. Dope record. Number
Yeah.
11, Yachty Mama. Cool record.
Mm,
I'm not a big Yachty guy, but Mac Miller, I'll Be There.
all right. I
Um,
don't remember, but I'm sure it was dope. I don't remember it though.
so I'm Best Day Ever. Snoop Dogg, I Love My Mama, 1999. Off No Limit
Okay.
Top Dog.
Shout out to Snoop. He about to drop the gospel album, Snoop. Okay.
Kanye West, Only One.
I don't recall that one. How they but did they already go past Hey Mama though? They went past Kanye Hey Mama?
They gonna get to it. 7, Goody Mob, Guess Who,
Okay.
off Soul Food. Dope record. Dope record. Dope
Yeah.
record. Really dope
Yeah,
record.
that was
Number 6, Chance the Rapper, Hey Ma. Dope
all
record.
right.
Dope record. Number 5, Dance by Nas off Godson. Dope record.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful song right there. Love that song.
Shout out to Chucky
Mhm.
Thompson who did the beat. Really good record.
No doubt.
Oh, Drake, you say. Drake, look what you've
Yeah.
done. Off of Take
Uh,
Care.
That was cool.
A cool
I ain't
record.
mad.
I ain't
It
gonna
was all
front.
right.
Drake,
Yeah, it was all right.
look at Drake with some substance on his joint, right?
I mean, no, that album, Take Care, is I think that's his classic album right there. You know what I mean? So
Number 3, Jay-Z, I Made It of Kingdom Come. Record was cool.
uh yeah, I made it at number 3 though. That's kind of a reach. That's a reach, my guy. I made it at 3. That's a
Number
reach.
2, blasphemy. Complex list is
I
invalid. This
mean,
should be number 1
number
unequivocally.
2
Number
is
1
pretty close.
unequivocally. Number 1. I don't even know why they would. This is disrespectful. This list is invalid. All the complex lists are invalid. Dear
I
Mama
think
is
yeah.
number 1.
Once it gets to the top 3, though, I think 1, 2, or 3 is really just the same as 1 to me.
Hey
You know what I
Mama,
mean? 1.
Kanye West. I'm sorry. I like West. I like Ye, but it's not better. This record is not better than Dear Mama. It's just not.
Oh, ooh, that's
It's not. It's
tough.
not. It's not.
That's tough right there, though. Cause I mean, I hate Kanye West. I'm gonna be honest. Not I don't hate the man. I just hate the message he stands on. Like I'm just gonna offend people all the time. I hate that. But the song itself, A Mama or Hey Mama versus Dear Mama.
Dear Mama.
I don't know
Easy.
which one is
It's
better.
easy.
That's crazy. I never thought about these two records in combating each other. Now lyrically, I think Tupac may have probably got him lyrically, but then sonically though, I think Kanye may have got Tupac sonically. That's the two arguments right there though. You know what I mean?
Man,
I,
Pac number 1.
but lyrically, yes, Pac lyrically, he got that. You know what I mean? But
Pac number
and
1.
that's
Oh
tough, bro.
man, good point. Where's All I Got Is You by Ghostface? That's a record that should be
Oh yeah,
like number in the top 5 off rip, number 3 off rip.
yeah,
And it might be better
yeah.
than Hey. I might have All I Got Is You better than Hey Mama. Be quite honest with you.
But a mama though, man, it's really just like for me, it's the beat, man. Something about that beat for A Mama is just beautiful to me. You know what I mean? And then with Tupac, also the lyrics of what Tupac is saying is beautiful to me. So that's the conflict right there to me. It's the beat versus lyrics. So that's all. You know what I mean?
Do y'all remember
But
the
both
the Plies song "Driving My Mama Crazy"? You remember that joint? It was a Plies record called "Driving." Look up that in the chat. "Driving My
yeah,
Mama Crazy" by Plies.
yeah, I never really got into Plies, but I do respect what he does though, because I saw he had a new song out, and his music is fun though. I never got into it, but he's kind of like Kevin Gates before Kevin Gates, if that makes sense. But I respect it though. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
the list from Complex is invalid. If all of I got is you is not on there, it's not valid. Not valid. It's not a valid list, man.
That Jay-Z song that they picked, that's a reach. And I think Jay-Z's the GOAT, but I gotta say that was a reach. They would have been better off picking Smile by Jay-Z and putting that as third. You know what I mean? That rather than to pick I Made It. Because Smile has a bunch of different things happening at one time. You know what I mean? That would have been a better pick as far as mom songs. You know what I'm saying?
No
But
doubt. No doubt. No doubt. Well, man,
oh,
we had a good show, man. I need to go celebrate the mothers in my life. So I'm gonna
yeah,
get off this pod. We're back at it. I know you guys missed us. We've been gone for a couple of weeks, but we have returned. We ain't going nowhere. The Weekend Rhyme is the number 1 hip hop podcast on the weekends. We're gonna do some bigger
right.
things. We're gonna get some set production upgrades, and we're gonna do some
Bye.
in-person shows hopefully soon. You know what I'm saying? Because I gotta go to California because I just wanna be in the spot. I wanna hear some K Dot. So I'm gonna go to California just to hear that. You know what I mean? So Leroy gonna come to Atlanta. We're gonna shoot some shows here, and
All
we'll meet
right.
somewhere else and shoot some shows for Super, and keep it a buck. So I know we didn't get a chance to talk about Ye because this is Mother's Day. We want to go out on a positive vibe.
I,
Uh,
no,
uh, uh,
I could have went there on Ye, but I'm not. I'm gonna spare y'all. But I'm just saying.
it's a positive day. You know what I mean? We want to keep it positive. You know,
The thing with Ye is he gets to dish out to everybody else. But the moment we start shooting shots back, then we wrong. But he gets to shoot shots at everybody else. That's the only thing I'm saying. It's all right for Kanye to shoot at us, but we can't shoot back though. That's like, come on, man. You know what I mean? But it's cool. It's cool. Do your thing, man. I'm not a fan of the song, but do your thing. Whatever works, works. Hey, whatever.
No doubt, no
You
doubt.
know.
What's your final words for the night, brother?
Final word. Okay, so I think we got to start attaching some cause or some reasoning behind these events. Events such as the Met Gala. I think we do need to have some events for ourselves, our own community, but let's do something for ourselves and attach a cause to it. That's all. Hip hop and if we're gonna do this fashion thing, let's do it right. Let's really get fly for real, like. And we don't gotta always go to a person from Europe and say they're the definition of fly. That's not the definition of fly. We got our own people that's been fly, that been putting on. We could go to them. You know what I mean? So let's get our own people in the mix. Hip hop and film, let's go there, man. Come on, man. You see what Sinners is out here doing. Like, do y'all know the work we could do in Hollywood? Hip hop? Come on. Like, we gotta do that. We gotta hip hop. We gotta go into Hollywood and do work. So that's pretty much it, man. Just fashion, hip hop. I was gonna speak on Benny for a little bit, the evolution of hustling rap. He did an interview talking about the cannabis dispensary and things like that. So, but as far as the streaming goes, if you watch the movie Sinners, they're paying them in wooden nickels. The wooden nickels is slave money. So, what you think streaming is? Now, there are some people that are cool with streaming. I'm not mad at y'all. There are some people not cool with streaming. I'm not mad at y'all. But the evolution of hustle rap, if you calling yourself a hustler, how do you feel about streaming? What is your perspective on that? I'd be open to hearing that. Pusha T, Benny, Boldy. So I just want to throw that out there. But other than that, hip hop, we're going to keep it moving. I'll be back next weekend to disseminate some more of this hip hop stuff. Probably pop up with another freestyle. Benny and Logic are cultivating their fan base. I'm going to cultivate mine as well in real time on camera so people could see it being done. You know what I mean? And we're going to go from there. You know what I mean?
Do it on a Wednesday, they say. We might show up on a Wednesday. But no, we like the Thursday show. We like to go. We like the Thursday slot a little bit more. You know what I mean? We'll discuss it. We might shift to Wednesday, but I like the Thursday joint. You know what I mean? That's just me.
Any day. I'm available any day. But I do like the weekends. I'm more of a Saturday guy, but any day I'm here for because it's hip hop. We live this. I wake up hip hop. I go to sleep hip hop. Everything is hip hop. So any day is fine. You know
No
what I'm
doubt, no
saying?
doubt. Well, everybody, enjoy your mothers and your lives, man. You can be anywhere in the world, but you rocking here with us tonight on the Weekend Rhyme, the number one hip hop podcast in the world, from the number one new media hip hop company in the world, according to hip hop. We appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow with Servan and Mike on Mike Check, and then we might see y'all Wednesday or Thursday. And if we got breaking news throughout the week as the Diddy trial unfolds, we'll talk about that. And I'm going to go out, celebrate my graduate, celebrate my wife. And I want to report next week how many Kendrick Lamar songs I heard and all the clubs I go to tonight. So y'all be easy. Peace.
Have a good one. Happy Mother's Day.